Who?
Who's this person living in your knee?
What does that mean? Yo, what up guys? Corey Sandman Sandhagen here. Welcome to the channel. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. We talk everything martial arts. I'm not a media guy. I'm not a drama guy. I don't really care for that stuff. I want to talk about the technical pieces of what's happening in fighting. But today, because we just hit 50K subscribers, I don't know, sometime last week or whatever, big thank you to you guys. I wanted to answer some of your guys' questions that you guys had in the comments. Make sure though, I want to do these videos to help you guys out a lot. So I'll probably do them about every 10K subscribers we get. So the next one will be around 60, then we'll do a 70, 80, 90, 100 until we hit, 5,000 million subscribers, which is what I plan on doing. So make sure though that you guys are commenting below with more questions, okay? I want to keep them more technical. I'll answer some silly questions too if you guys want me to, but I feel like my wheelhouse is technique, being a badass fighter, and knowing what the hell is going on. So I would like to keep them in that wheelhouse. Comment below in whatever questions you guys want answered at the 60K mark. We'll come back, we'll answer those questions. But today, let's answer some of those. Peace. First question, guys, how many days a week should I be training, okay? The better you want to get, the more you should train, okay? It depends on what your goals are. You don't get to have the goal of being a UFC champion if you're only going to clock like 2 hours a day, okay? You don't just get to do that, all right? That's one thing that I kind of bump into here and there, especially being a coach at the gym that I'm at is, I'll be like, they'll ask me this question and I'll answer with, okay, well, what are your goals? And they'll be like, well, I want to be in the UFC. And it's like, well, you're only here 3 days a week for 2 hours a day. Like, that's never going to happen, to be honest with you, okay? It depends what your goals are. I personally, of course, train a lot more than everyone else because this is my career, this is my job. But since I was about 17 years old when I first started this sport, I was pretty much training at least 3 hours a day, and then of course I take 1 day off on Sundays. If people say that they don't take days off, they're kind of lying, okay? Everyone needs a day off just to rest the mind, the body, the spirit, all of it, okay? So that's really important. Make sure that you guys are taking a day off. But outside of that, I pretty much try to kill myself all the way up until Saturday. You'll get better as you start to learn things about your body, and this is a really special thing about martial arts just in general, is that you get to learn a lot about the way that you work, how much workload you can handle in a week, what types of workload take it out of you the most. So for example, I feel like I can do shorter sprints longer and more throughout the week than most people can, while there's other people that can like drill for 3 hours in a row and then be completely cool and not be impacted the very next day. I'm not like that. Again, you kind of just have to figure out who you are, but I will say that if you do have big goals and big aspirations in the sport, on your last training session on Saturday, you should be pretty out of it, okay? Mentally, physically, like you should be pretty out of it. So Monday, my schedule is 11 to 2 I'm training, and then again later in the day from about 4 to 6:30, okay? Tuesday, 1 to 3-ish, and then again 6:30 to 8 at night. Wednesday is a little bit of my lighter day. Monday and Tuesday are kind of hard. Wednesday is a little bit of a lighter day. 10 to 11 I'm training, and then again from like 2 to 4-ish I'm training again. Thursday, kind of same schedule, 11 to about 3, and then again at night on Thursday, just a drilling, a light one. My Thursdays I do a little bit lighter. I'll train from about 6:30 to 8 again on Thursday nights. Friday in the morning, 10 to 11, just a little shakeout. Spar from about 1 to 2, kind of tough. And then Saturday, I just go from 9 until I'm about dead around noon, okay? And then Sunday, like I said, completely day off on Sunday. So that's my schedule. If you want to be a UFC champ, probably should keep it kind of close to that. Well, I like this question, okay? This question is best setups for a left hook to the liver is what I assume that they're talking about, or any type of body shot, but we'll talk about the left hook to the liver because it's the nastiest. And then how to also do it when you're fighting in an open stance, so whether you're a lefty or they're a righty or whatever. So first ones, okay? Me and Elias are fighting. I learned this first by throwing my jab, my overhand, and then my body shot, okay? That's how I started learning how to do the hook to the liver really hard. Don't try to skip steps and do things the way that I do them now, because like I said, I've troubleshot this whole thing for years and years and years. don't skip steps. If you're a beginner and you want to learn how to set up the body shot, this is my opinion. You jab or anything here. When you throw your overhand, it's important that you load your shoulder down, okay? When you throw your cross, you kind of keep more of an upright posture, which you can definitely still smoke someone with a body shot afterwards. But when I throw my overhand, it kind of brings my weight down into this hip, which is really important in being able to explode in. So when I throw my jab and then I throw my overhand, I don't try to hit this so hard where it stops my momentum. If I throw this so hard where when I hit, I don't get to like really open up my hip all the way. So for example, if I jab and then I cross and I stop here, I can only hook to the body so hard, where if I jab, I cross and I really don't commit to scoring this really hard, and then I load my hip more, that's better. So jab, overhand, and then again, when you're hitting this body shot, Elias's elbows are typically going to be here, their body is going to be here. I aim right underneath that space where their elbow is. There's always going to be a little bit of a gap there. That's where I really try to smoke someone with a body shot, okay? I would start there if you're a beginner. Open stance, if me and Elias are open stance. Arnold did a really awesome job of this against Evlov also, actually, where, again, when we're open stance, our flat sides are facing each other's hard stuff, okay? So my flat side of my body where it hurts to get hit is facing all of Elias's power, everything. But it's the same thing for me. All of like my power shots are lined up to hit Elias on the flat side of his body. When you're throwing the hook to the body in a southpaw stance, go outside the foot. That's important in keeping yourself safe, because it makes my head go in a safe place. If I step to the inside and I'm here, just like nasty things can happen, like elbows, knees, whatever. If I step to the outside of his foot, I also am making myself really long here, which makes me really powerful. My head is in a pretty safe spot. When I hook, I want to think that anytime I'm throwing a punch, I'm putting all of my energy through whatever it is that I'm trying to hit, okay? For the most part. There's obviously shots that like skimp off. Like there's the like skimming shots, of course. Those kind of just happen on their own. Let them happen on their own. Don't try to like skim shots. You don't have to do that. Try to sink your shots through the person and put all of the energy and the force through the person here, okay? But to do that southpaw, I would jab first. As I step, boom, I'm loading my hip. I throw my right hand, and again, the angle of the punch that I want goes through Elias. I can do that straight, not as likely though, because Elias, if he's like a focus pad, the focus pad is facing this direction, not this direction. And again, I want all of my force going through Elias's body. So when I right hand, I like to throw it at an angle where it feels like I'm hitting the focus pad exactly perfect and driving all of my energy through it. So that's how I would score my body shots. So next question, guys, okay? How to fight if you're a little bit of a shorter fighter. Here's kind of the big ideas behind all of this. It isn't, I'll be the shorter guy. So I used to fight at 45, and those suckers are kind of tall, okay, or a lot of them are. So I definitely am, and I come from an era where we didn't really spar in our weight classes that much, so I'm definitely super familiar with fighting bigger, taller guys, okay? The first thing is you don't get to put your head in a space where he can fill it with some type of attack. Okay, so what that means is if I'm shorter, I don't get to put my head here and not get kneed in the face or elbowed or like drop crossed or whatever, okay? I don't get to do that as a shorter guy, sorry, all right? This is just not a good place to roll your dice. It will happen sometimes, but you want to stay away from it. When me and Elias are fighting and I'm the shorter guy, they're going to try to be long. That's going to be their strategy. The nice part about being shorter and them being longer is the longer their arms, the more time you have to react to their punch, okay? Because it obviously is longer, which means more time. So when Elias throws his jab, I'm trying to put my head here, I'm trying to put my head here, and then if I have some big old balls, I'm going to go underneath it here. But I only do that on an already attack. I don't just blitz in like this and put my head here, I'm going to get kneed in the face, okay? He jabs, I can go under it, I can go off to the side of it, or I can go to the inside of it, okay? Being shorter, you have to know that where the safe places to put your head is and where the safe places to leave your head are. I can put my head here, but I can't hang here. I can put my head here and I can kind of hang here. Here, kind of, again, like I'm kind of on his powerful stuff, so I wouldn't love to leave my head here, but it's a little bit more okay than being in the front. So when you're the shorter fighter, the pockets that I'm trying to aim and get my head to so that I can find myself getting close either with steps or find myself getting close with actual attacks or find myself getting close on shots is this spot, which if Elias jabs at me, here, the cross side, here, or occasionally going underneath but not hanging here. Like if I'm going here, it's to fire off something and then I'm getting myself out of the way. The nice part about being short is that when you do get to these underneath spots, really his attacks are super limited unless he wants to punch me on the top of my head, which is typically not a good idea for him. So he can kind of throw knees, he could throw kicks, but I'm fairly safe from a lot of these things because, again, if I'm here, like he's not going to start throwing punches from here. That's going to be a little bit weird, especially if I have like this inside space. When he starts throwing punches, I can be on the inside of him, and if I'm on the inside of him, then they work faster. That sounded a little weird, huh? Don't wink at me. All right, so being shorter. Okay, say I'm about this tall. Elias punches at me, boom, I want to get myself in. He doesn't punch at me, boom, I want to find myself here. Again, he punches at me, maybe I want to go underneath. But I'm finding these pockets all the time to try to put my head that's closer but also safe. You want to be close, but you also want to be safe. Here, fairly safe. You're never out the woods though. Here, fairly safe. Here, fairly safe, but can't hang out. So I hope that that helps for you short kings out there. All right, guys, so the next question, how do you catch a kick if they're kicking on your liver side, which is on my right side here, okay? Your liver hangs out about in the front, like a little bit off to the side, but a little bit more in the front here, okay? That's why catching the kicks is okay. It doesn't hurt that much to get hit in like the flabby, like side pieces of your body, okay? So when Elias goes to kick me, whether it's on either side, my liver side or the other side, kick me with the left one, I don't want to let him hit me on my flat at all ever. Even if it's on the other side that isn't going to like smoke me in my liver, I don't want this type of thing happening. That just sucks. This is where your organs are, this is where your lungs are, it just hurts, okay? These things though don't hurt that bad to get hit in, okay? Like your ribs are pretty strong out here more than they are like in these like floater areas. So when Elias goes to kick me in my ribs or my liver, I'm not going to stay pointed like this so that he can drive all of his power into the flat of my body. When he kicks on my liver side, I just have to rotate enough. Can you stand over there? I just have to rotate enough so that it kicks me here and not here. You know, like your liver isn't this big giant thing that eats up the entire right side of your body. It's literally right here, okay? And probably some of you guys are different, but for the most part, it's right here. So when Elias goes to kick me, instead of trying to catch flat where it hits me, all I do is just rotate my body a little bit so that it hits me on this part of my body and not this part of my body, because I did get a lot of flack for that one video that I made. If Elias goes to kick me in my head and I put out my arm like this, I'm pretty safe, you know? That was on my fucked up tricep. You better watch it, son. But even then, like that felt like a really safe thing to do. Saying that if you're open stance and they go to kick, like it can be sometimes a really hard read to see if they're going head or body. So I did make the video of us going like this and catching it. It's a good idea. You can't just catch it like this though. That's gonna hit you in your liver, of course. But if Elias kicks and I rotate and he kicks me here, not the worst thing in the world. It's not gonna feel great, but at least you get to catch their leg and then punch them in the face really hard or sweep them or do something really great after that. All right, cool. Next question that we're gonna answer. Can we do a video that is talking about either kneeing people in the head or kneeing people in the body, okay? The biggest and main difference is if me and Elias are fighting each other, when I throw my knee and I want to hit him in the body, I have to have this drive in, okay? Again, your attacks are sometimes swords, sometimes spears. Your knee can be kind of a combination of both, where it's angled in a way where it covers a lot of space. Like if there was an arrow on my knee, it would cover this amount of space. When I'm going to the body, I don't want it going up. I don't want it covering that space here. I do, if Elias is going to shoot, I do want to fill that space if I'm trying to knee him in the face. But if I'm trying to knee Elias in the body, the angle of my knee needs to go not up, but in. One way to do that is when I throw my knee, I push my hip in like this. So when I lift my knee and drive, this is what gives me a lot of pop on my knee, but it also makes it so that I can really drive in. Opposed to when I knee to the face, there isn't this motion of me doing this. It's more straight up like this, non-committed as much in my hips. So that's how we're going to knee to the body. To stay safe, because this can be a difficult thing. I don't want to just throw my knee to my body, leave my face right here, and then have Elias smoke me with the right hand. Like Pico knocked that one dude out really bad in Bellator like that. Oh! Don't do that. When we're kneeing, there's a reason that the Thai guys cover the hands or cover the head or something like that when they knee to the body. And the reason is because I am leaving my face in a really vulnerable spot. The way that I make that safe is by covering his attacks either with both my hands, or I time one where I follow him back in, or he jabs and I know that this is the only thing that can hit me, so I cover this one. But you have to cover the weapons, okay? Knee into the face, it's a lot easier if you're taller and they lower their level. Anytime someone obviously goes to change their level, boom, I throw this up at an angle where it's gonna hit Elias in the face. If we're close and I wanna knee Elias in the face, it can be really awkward and difficult to do it just here. I want to pull him in and then throw my knee. That's really important. I don't try to score my knee just in like a stationary way. You can fight a little bit, like don't be a limp fish, yeah. I don't wanna fight in a way where it's like this and I can't yank his head. But when things are moving really fast, we get into a Thai clinch and I step back here, boom, I can knee myself kind of with this backwards gallop and then a knee because it's gonna break his posture a little bit. There's also, if you do have the dexterity, which I don't because I've been working my glutes a lot lately because my tricep has been messed up, but if I can just flat out grab his head from space, again, cover his weapons, and just yank on this thing and make his head hit my knee. When I'm practicing this in shadow boxing, I'll just take my hand and shove it into my knee. You can definitely knee someone really hard in the face like that, but you have to have pretty decent flexibility in your legs. So that's the difference. When you're kneeing to the body, a little bit in with this type of motion. When you're kneeing to the face, it's a lot more up, less committed with this here. All right, so this question, we'll take a little break from the technique. What is the question? How do you train when you're smoking weed and smoking cigarettes?
Smoking weed or cigarettes hold you back from fighting?
Oh, does smoking weed and smoking cigarettes hold you back from fighting? Yeah, probably, you know, but does eating a bag of Doritos also? Probably, you know. The thing about being disciplined and the thing about being awesome without having to be a neurotic weirdo is that just be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, you're not gonna be as in good a shape as some of the other guys unless you're out there running marathons every day. Same thing if you smoke a bunch of weed. I'm pretty sure that that likely light is not good for your lungs either. So I would say you need to find a fine line in between how you like to live, what your lifestyle is like. Take that and then just figure out how to be disciplined but also not neurotic, because that can sometimes be a very fine line. Like when I'm in camp, I'm kind of neurotic a little bit. Like I'll literally be laying in bed and then be like, oh man, I forgot to take my nighttime vitamins. And in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and go take my nighttime vitamins because I want every single centimeter, every single inch that I can get in an advantage in going into a fight. So during fights, yeah, sure, I'm a lot of neurotic. No cigarettes, no weed, not that I'm doing a ton of that stuff anyways. No alcohol, none of that stuff. When you're outside of camp, like, you know, you don't got to be a neurotic weirdo. Let your spirit, let your mind rest a little bit. Smoke all those cigarettes. Smoke all the weed you want. And if you want to start smoking crack, smoke crack too. But just cut it out when you're getting ready for a fight. Don't actually do any of that stuff. But you guys get the point. Don't be a neurotic, but also have discipline too. All right, guys, so last question that we'll go over before we cut this one. Again, make sure that you guys comment below of ones that you guys want to see when we hit 60K, 70K, all of that stuff. But the next one that we're going to go over is how to fight a mover. This is a really, really good question, okay? Elias is being a mover. The disadvantages to being a mover is that Elias is not going to be as connected on the floor as I am, which means he doesn't get to fire off any attack that he wants in a split second the same way that I do. So be a mover guy. When I'm connected to the floor, I can throw anything that I want at any time that I want. You be stationary, I'll be mover. When I'm mover guy, I'm floating on the floor. I need to set my feet and then throw something, or I need to, do one of these where I'm moving my feet and throwing a punch at the same time, which isn't going to be the hardest, most like groundbreaking punch in the world, but it can still pack a punch, so there's a little bit of that going on. But for the most part, if I'm mover, I have to dart myself into space. If Elias is grounded to the floor and I dart myself into space, he's going to hit me. So these mover effers that are really annoying like myself, in order to stop it, and I have answers to this, so I don't feel bad like giving this away because this is actually some gold. But me and Elias are fighting. If I'm mover guy, Elias just needs to keep me in front and hit me when I step in. It's kind of that simple. Me and Elias are moving. I'm here. He knows I have to dart in. I dart in, he hits me with something. Boom, we're moving, I dart in, he hits me with something. There's obviously a lot of things that the mover needs to do in order to not make that the case. But if I'm moving all around Elias and he can keep me in front of him and stay pretty connected to the floor, anytime I step in, he will have a little bit of an advantage. There are, of course, a lot of things that the mover guy can do. Maybe we'll answer that in the next one so I don't give too much away, all in one video. But that's how I would fight a mover. You keep them in front, you keep your feet on the floor, you have all of your weapons ready. When they step at you, you hit them with something, okay? That's how you win against those guys. So, again, make sure that you guys like, comment, all that stuff. See you guys at 60K. We're going to refer back to this video, so make sure that you guys ask all the questions that you want in this one. Peace, I love you, have a good weekend.